What's up guys, we're back at it again. We're almost done the John boat conversion. Today, we're gonna be working on carpeting, guys. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, guys, there's a full playlist. This is my John boat to bass boat conversion from start to finish in complete detail, step by step. Be a part of this journey, click the link below, get caught up, because we're almost done. Today, we're carpeting the rear deck of the boat. I've got my hatches cut out. I'll do a separate video just on the hatches alone. But just want to go over some tips and tricks that I use, exactly how I like to do carpeting on the boat. So hopefully this will help out someone else who's about to take on this kind of project or is just thinking about carpeting the deck in their boat. So guys, just want to go over some tools needed to get the job done. First, we want to start with the glue, guys. Gotta have really good glue. This is from Lowe's. Invest in very good glue. This is actually not expensive at all, guys. Of course, then you'll need a staple gun. You'll need some kind of cutter. I'm using a box cutter. And then I use a roller to make sure I get the carpet down properly and get rid of any bubbles or anything like that. Got a little troll. This one's getting quite rusty. I used it over and over again. But I've got a large and a small one. This helps to get the glue spread evenly. And of course, guys, don't forget gloves. And this helps just having a straight edge. Any straight edge you have, you'll need it to make straight cuts on your carpet. You also want to make sure that when you're doing the job, guys, make sure you have fresh blades, especially when cutting carpet, because carpet frays very easily. And if your blade is dull, it can make a mess of your carpet and ruin your edges. So first thing I like to do is just line up the decking with about a 2 to 3 inch on the edges. And that'll allow me to fold the carpet over, make my cuts, carpet the corners. So you need a little excess to make sure you have coverage to do that. So I'm just eyeballing it, 3 inches, or about 2.5. You don't want to have too much because you want to preserve as much carpet as possible for the job. Also remember, guys, to face your wood down. So the top of the wood, this is the bottom. This is the underside of the wood. Top of the wood is facing down. This is exactly how it will go onto the carpet. All right, we've got our cuts. Let's go ahead and flip this over. All right, let's get to gluing. Eventually you'll be touching the actual surface of the carpet, so you don't want to get glue on that for sure. That's like one of the worst things you want to do. So just have a little beat up towel that you don't care about. So anytime I get glue on my gloves, I wipe it off pretty much right away, because you inevitably end up getting glue on yourself, on your clothes, on your garage floor. But most importantly, you don't want to get glue on the surface of the carpet. If your entire boat will be covered with wood and carpet, you'll probably need 2 of these 1-gallon containers of glue. But again, that all depends on how much carpeting you're doing. So what I like to do is just glob it on and then spread it out. So with the troll, it has a jagged side and a smooth side. I normally like to use the smooth side first to spread it around, because I don't want the jagged side to penetrate the sealant I put on the wood. So that's pretty important. You hear a lot of guys just jump in and say use the jagged side, spreads it around easily and all of that, but if you're scraping up your sealant, that's a bad thing. So I do the initial with the smooth side, and then I use the jagged side to finish it up. It looks like a lot of glue at first, but once you start spreading it, it goes away pretty quickly. Next, I'm gonna flip it over and use the jagged side to do one last spread with the jagged side. You can see, guys, man, I mean, this is what I'm saying. You gotta try to keep the glue off your hands as much as possible, because it gets like that, it gets really hard to work with. Sometimes I'll have a second pair of gloves depending on what I'm doing. One thing you wanna do, guys, is make sure you don't glob any glue onto your carpet, because if it seeps through, and depending on the thickness of your carpet, this is 16-ounce carpet, so it's pretty thick stuff, but you wanna be careful not to have glue seep through. And if you put too much on the carpet, it will seep through and you'll see it. You don't wanna see that, and you just don't want that to happen. It's hard to fix that. So guys, this is the point where I take a quick pause and just wash off my tools. And you want to do this right away, because once the glue starts to solidify in this thing, it gets even harder to clean it off so that you can use it again. And I plan to use these for the entire build. Now we're ready to flip it over. Spread out your carpet, make sure it's as flat as possible. So guys, I'm actually going to line up the wide edge first, because that will help me to make sure that this is as straight as possible. Want to be really careful when stepping around the thin pieces of wood. Do not break that. A lot of work went into that, guys. All right, guys, so it's at this point that I normally take my gloves off, because once you start messing with the face of the carpet, you're gonna be really careful. All right, so I've got 2 bubbles that I need to get rid of that the roller is not gonna get rid of it. So I'm gonna reposition it. This is actually the first time this has happened, so this is a good exercise. I'm sure you guys can't even see it, but it's right here, here, and here. So I'm gonna reposition the carpet and then roll it on. All right, there we go. All right, guys, I just got glue on my carpet and I have no idea where it even came from. Thought it was on the roller, but I had a little spot right here on my arm. And as I was rolling, my arm touched the carpet. Just taking a wet cloth. You got to do this part right away. So we got that taken care of. Let's not get any more glue on this carpet. Again, be mindful of your thin pieces. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure there because if I break that, that's going to break me. So for this next part, guys, I'm gonna flip it over and then do the staples. And I'm actually gonna stay out the garage. I'm gonna stay away from anywhere that I was using glue, because once you flip this over and you don't wanna accidentally stick it in a glob of glue. I'm gonna move further down the driveway. One more thing, guys, that you'll wanna have is, well, you don't have to have it, but it definitely makes life easier, is to have a pair of heavy duty scissors. And that comes into play, especially when you're doing the corners, which is a pivotal part of this whole carpeting process. I'll go through exactly how I do my corners and using these scissors. I'm gonna go ahead and start stapling the carpet down. All right, one of the key things you gotta remember, guys, is to start from the middle. And you wanna start from the middle because the carpet, if you don't, you can actually have ripples in it in the end. So starting from the middle, it'll smooth it all the way out to the edges, and that's what you want. If you're not comfortable just using your hand strength, you can get some clamps or a pair of pliers or something to actually grip the carpet and pull it. I'm really generous with the staples. I'll do probably around 3 inches apart because, again, I want a really tight fit. And I have to say, guys, when I first started carpeting, I really didn't like it. I didn't like the process. I felt like I was horrible at it. But once I got to like my second and third job, it just flows a lot better. It became a lot easier. So keeping a wet cloth by you helps a lot, just to get whatever glue gets on your hands. You want to get it off right away because you will touch the carpet and screw up your carpet. So just go ahead, use a damp cloth, get the glue off, keep moving. So save the corners for last. Just taking the pliers, pulling on it, staple, grab the edge, pull, staple. All right, so here's where I will be very, very careful not to put too much pressure on these thin pieces. This is only a 1/2 inch wide, and I even made a little mistake here. It's a little bit less than 1/2 inch there. One thing I find that helps to make the cuts a little better on your blade is to put cardboard underneath it. That way you're not scraping your blade up against the ground, your driveway or a garage floor or wherever. It actually smooths out the cut. I did not do the greatest job cutting this because my blade got dull, and I said, oh, let me just get through it anyway, but it just makes a big mess. I left a lot of overhang because I want to be able to staple this up pretty good. All right, that's there, that's there, that's in that corner. And let's trim this a little bit so that sticks in that corner. All right, there we go. So ideally, guys, I should have left room to staple this flap onto here as well, but I didn't. So I'm gonna try to trim this up as much as I can, so at least the overlap won't be as much and it will sit flush. So guys, this is my hinge side. So not only will I have the staples holding it in place, but the hinge itself will help to keep it in place as well. All right, guys, now to do the corners. What I like to do with my corners is, in order to have the actual corner covered complete with carpet, I like to cut it here, which gets it to lay flat from each side, and then I'll slit it right down here. I actually got this technique. I saw Anthony Jones do this, so I will not take credit for this, but it works. I'm gonna demo that really quick. First, you wanna pinch it, because that's how it's gonna lay flat right here. Let's go ahead and cut. So that's the initial cut right there. And then might need to trim it a little bit. Yep, just one little trim right there. And then I wanna just cut straight in. You just want a small piece to hold on to and staple. So just hold it down, staple. And what that does, guys, is create complete coverage of your corner. That way it doesn't strip away later, and it should last a long time that way. Just gonna lift it up a little bit. That corner is completely covered. All right, guys, flipped it over. Looks absolutely amazing. Everything looks great. And yeah, this thing is ready to go on the boat. Let's get it in there. I'm excited. There we go, guys. Look at that. Little close-up shot for you. Everything worked out really well. Spacing looks good. We got the ledge for the lids to go on right there on the framing. The framing is showing 3/4 of an inch. Man, this looks really, really good. Carpet's all flat. Look at that. Beautiful. So guys, just showing you real quick how I'm doing the carpeting for the rear bench, and I'm only carpeting this part because the deck will slide over here on top. The plan is to put the carpet directly onto the bench of the boat. This will keep it super simple. I measured the carpet and made the cuts away from the boat. I just took a measurement. It's pretty simple. What I'm doing is holding the carpet in place just using duct tape. It's the closest thing I could find at the time. And the reason why I have it up here is because I need to make a cut because the end of the bench is at a diagonal angle in this corner. So what I'm gonna use is this speed square. So this is holding it flush against it. I'm just gonna run the blade as much in the corner as possible. Instead of digging into the boat, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the trim outside the boat and get to gluing. One thing I forgot to mention was I drew a line along the rear bench of where I need the carpet to stop, because where the carpet stops is where the rear deck starts, so that there's no space and you're not seeing the actual bench seat in between the carpet on the side and the rear deck. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the glue directly onto the bench and then press the carpet onto it. All right, guys, that is done. So this floor fits so snug in here. I'm gonna try to avoid screwing it in to the floor of the boat. So that's how I'm gonna leave it for now, because it feels very snug. And I also, when I put this side panel in, it's gonna secure it down here as well. So I'm gonna try that. If after a day of fishing, I feel like I wanna go ahead and screw it down, I'll do it at that point. But for now, I think the floor is pretty solid in there. I'll give you an update, guys, if that changes. How's that look, guys? All right, guys, I can't be more happy than how this came out. Hopefully you guys get some good tips out of this carpeting video. Just wanted to keep something short and sweet, give you the do's and don'ts, things that I've learned along the way, help you not make some of the mistakes I've made in the past through this build. But guys, you know, this is a learning process. I'm actually gonna miss doing this build when this thing is all done. It's been part of my life for the last 4 months. Again, if you're new to the channel, playlist down below for the full build from start to finish. So click on that, binge watch it, grab some popcorn, some chips and soda or something. Watch this build from start to finish. This has been an epic journey. Shout out to everyone who's been riding with me on this build. Big up to all of you, giving comments, suggesting some really good things. Just keeping my spirits up. Sometimes when my spirits get down on this build, it's been an absolute blast, guys. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button down below. It's free. Tap that notification bell. Leave us a thumbs up and a comment, guys. We'll see you on the next video.